Hey, Ursula here. Today we're going to take a look at what's shaking in the garden. We're starting out in the front in the flower bed, and as you can see, this guy got a haircut. This is a Santolina. It had gone to flower, and the flowers are done now. So they just got mulched, and they make a great mulch. This is a beet that went to seed. The deer ate all the tops and the leaves off. They did not eat the seeds, but they ate most of the broadleaf. And they had done that last month, so I'm not sure there's any new damage to that. This is my second lavender plant. It's doing good. I have free-range calendula. They really are free range. I just let them go wherever they want to go, and they'll be blooming through fall. These will reseed and another batch will come along, but I think they make a stunning contrast with the bachelor buttons, or cornflowers some people call them. And there's another plant. Some people call it bee balm, some people call it bergamot. Its scientific name is Monarda, and we have hummingbirds, and they're going for the Monarda. They prefer the red Monarda though, not the purple so much. So this is how it's looking right now. I've got one lonely zinnia back there. There's supposed to be other plants like the scabiosa here, but they haven't come up high enough yet. They're hiding back there. They still exist. I weeded. I know it's hard to tell, but I did weed. And this is a project. This one here is a project. This needs to come out. That's gotten too big for the terrace. There's only so much room in here for roots, and it's exceeded that. So this needs to be cut back and taken out. And then we've got some more Monarda. And I'm really pleased with the path. It's turned out really nice. I've had to remove a bit of borage. You really see they really are free range. Those things, the calendula, go everywhere. All right, now a little bit about the front here. The guys on the strings, I'm doing a single leader technique along this edge. These are Romas, and they're doing fine. I was able to get in here, and even though the deer ate the leaders, it was a little bit of a mishmash, but I figured out new leaders and retrained them, and that was fine. This at my feet here is dill. They hate dill. The deer in my area, I can't speak for your deer, but in my area they hate dill. And in order to allow some of the amaranth to recover, I put tomato cages on them. And that seems to have done the trick. This isn't blooming quite yet. This is the new Coreopsis I just got in, or I started this year. It's supposed to be a burgundy. So we'll see how that goes. The deer ate the pomegranate tree, which is why I have a cage here, because they were just going after anything through here. Now, my Sunray tomatoes here. This is another story. I decided to try something called a Florida weave. And because the deer ate so many different leaders on each of the tomatoes, it's hard to figure out which is actually the main stem. And the string is just not holding. Even if I had added more string, it will not hold that up. So I'm going to have to stake these. The amaranth is doing good. I'm starting to harvest some of the savory. And my poor new little lavender here, he's waiting for some rain. We've been promised rain. Didn't happen. I put another amaranth in here in a cage. And the reason I put it in a cage is we have a new critter eating food. We have this really small bunny rabbit. Really small and really fast. So, let's take a look at what else is going on. Okay, we're calling this Lilith's Tower because it was originally planted during a solar eclipse. And the strawberries on the bottom never really produced at all. But I had a lot of leftover sweet potato slips, and it occurred to me that even if they don't produce sweet potatoes in such a tiny footprint, as long as I get some healthy vines, the leaves can be harvested and used sort of like you would spinach. Up top, I finished planting out some of my flowers and a few tomatoes that didn't find a home previously. So I have endive in the back. I've got Mizuna in the front. This one just happens to be an Amish tomato. That happens to be a straw flower. On the far side, I've got some more bachelor buttons. Just basically trying to find a place for all the things that didn't get put into the ground. Blueberries have been coming in. We've been harvesting those. And I finally also found a place to plant my onions. Take a look here. I know they're not much, but they'll perk up. So to keep the deer off the tomatoes back here, I had to make a barrier. I put those two things in because the deer were just chewing on this tomato on the end. These are the purple Cherokees. In theory, I always say in theory because when I save seed, it's hard to tell what I've got and what I don't when it goes into the ground. But you can see these guys here on this end really tall, those guys really short. They got munched. And I did not plant this one, so I don't know what this is going to be, this squash here. It kind of looks like the Long Island cheese squash that I planted, but technically a pumpkin. But I don't know what I'm actually going to get. You never know. This is a Cinderella pumpkin, and on the far side of it I have some watermelon. That needs work. There's a lot of things back here need work. I did get this area mulch. I mean, that was a big plus. Now we're going to go in the back and we're going to see something I just learned. Yeah, you're sitting here going, what am I looking at? What am I looking at? We're up by the garage garden. This is the cinder blocks that I have. And this grid shape right here seems to be fine because down below, the bunny has left my garden and my beans alone. Up here, the bunny has figured out it can get in between these spacings on the grid wall as opposed to the fence. And I don't know if I misspoke. but you get the idea. It's going to be like Peter Rabbit. There's going to be a point where that bunny is going to just get too big to get in here. It's going to be like Peter Rabbit and lose the buttons off of its jacket. And its mom will get mad. But meanwhile, it's been coming in here and helping itself. There's not a leaf on those beans. Not a single leaf. See, now that one survived. These did not. So that's what happens when you eat too much. You can't get through the fence anymore. So that's where we're at. The turnips here need to be harvested. They're just not sitting that well with us, so we may just compost this. They did their job. They let a few beans survive in their shadow. And meanwhile, zucchini's coming on. They're getting nice and big and strong. We've got 3 of them in here. And I think along the back where the beans were, I'm going to put in some honey nut squash, and they can climb the grid wall. And I think pretty much squash has been left alone in the yard. See, there's one the squirrel planted. I don't even know what it is. And then there's a lot of to-do chores, like those tomatoes need to be strong, and tree branches still need to come down. But I did get the raspberries weeded, which I'm pleased about. I mean, you know, anytime where you are able to clear a path, you feel like you accomplished something. So, I mean, this was totally overgrown. You could not get through here because of the lemon balm that decided to take it over. So now my raspberries can actually get ripe. Most of these are just ripe on one side. If you take a look, it looks really pretty on this side, but the other side is still kind of yellow. It's not ready yet. But now at least it has a shot at some sun. This really actually could use some more soil. When I took all of that giant pile of lemon balm out of here, it took a lot of the soil with it. So this could really use some coconut coir or something that'll hold water, because these guys are dry. They're really dry. I also took some of the dead branches out because there's a few that are just plain done. So, and then I have a few more chores, like getting the walnuts out. And then back in this corner, I have poison sumac, which we're not thrilled about. And I'm still not quite sure what to do about that yet, but we'll figure something out. So, meanwhile, this is the next step. See, all these beans are fine. I actually have to go upstairs in my book and look what I planted, because I don't remember which beans I planted where. But even the strawberries are surviving here. Climb over. Let's see if I can do this. This one here is a weed patch that needs to be addressed. I apparently planted radishes and never harvested them, so those are going to seed. But in the far bed, I've been working on moving the strawberries, and when I finish, we'll get you a shot of all that. That's for another week though. But I'm really pleased. The soil in here is still really good. The strawberries are healthy. These are called Chandler strawberries. They're a June bearing, and I am not thrilled with the flavor. And sometimes it's just like that. And I don't think it's the location. I don't think it's the soil. I just think they're a meh kind of strawberry. We have another type called Seascape, and they are much, much tastier. And as you can see, the calendula have made it back here too. And they are really a pollinator attractor. So that hopefully means that I gotta dig out. Somewhere in there I have cucumbers, and we need to find those. And according to my seed time calendar, all my beets are ready to be picked. But since the deer ate them so badly, like this poor guy, I'm not really sure if I even have roots. This one looks too small. So even though it says they're ready to pick, they're not. They're just not. And the grass needs to come out of here. So the fence size squares keep the bunny out. The grid wall size squares do not. And I can't tell you why. I can't. To me, they look the same. I don't know. What do you think? Take care, everybody. Happy gardening.